question, Sprawl. Do you think I'm going to have bad opinions? Is that what you think? Did you come here to think that I would have bad opinions? Why no time? Look at this list. Look at this list. We've got George Washington. Hold on, let me do a random sound effect just so I know what I'm dealing with sound noise wise. That's pretty close. Let me turn it down just a little more. There we go. So here's our list. In fact, I'm not even going to go down the list. You see what the list is. I'm not going to go down the list. That's a waste of time. Just add another day to the schedule. No one reads it. Fair enough. The new list is going to be Mario. I just posted it. So next month is going to be fun. We've got no time to waste. So let's get on this. We've got like 20 presidents to do. Let me just get rid of Discord down here because that's going to annoy me. Excellent. Let's spin that shit. What's going on, Spro? What if you don't do them all by today? Because I don't want to do another day. We're not going to have another stream's worth of people to do. I'm not going to have enough time, you know. Do another day. I don't want to do another day. Why would I do another day? I don't have enough content to do another day. You can't leave the list incomplete. I'm not planning to. That's why we're going to do it tonight. All right, so here's Ulysses S. Grant, and he is a looker. Look at this horse. Look at this guy right here. Ulysses S. Grant is the 18th president. He was his term was from 1869 to 1877. He was an old-term Republican. Is that Bojack? I think so. Yeah, you can see. I can't get much closer here. Can I zoom in? I can't. Ulysses S. Grant was the 18th president. He rose to national fame as a key military leader for the Union. During his military career, he served 2 terms as president, his administration marked by efforts to rebuild the post-war nation and enforce civil rights laws for freed slaves. Let's see. He won his presidency against Horatio Seymour. We could have had a president named Horatio Seymour, and that's really the biggest tragedy of all. We could have also had Horace Greeley, who sounds like a cartoon villain. Grant was married to Julia Dent Grant. They wed in 1848, and their marriage was marked by a deep partnership and a mutual support. What did Grant do? So his 5 most important stories. Grant strongly supported Reconstruction. Big round of applause for Grant. Using the army to protect African Americans' rights in the South and combat the Ku Klux Klan's violence. Anybody fucking over the Ku Klux Klan gets an applause in my book. The 15th Amendment. His administration saw the ratification of the 15th Amendment, which prohibited the federal and state governments from denying a citizen the vote based on that citizen's race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Are we looking at an S? Are we looking at an S right here? Panic of 1873. Let's get. I'm going to get further down the list, but we'll see. Grant's presidency was marked by the Panic of 1873, a severe financial crisis that led to the prolonged economic depression. His response to the crisis, which focused on a tight monetary policy, received mixed reviews. Not even A really, but a solid B. I'm willing to be okay with that. Let's keep going. Despite his personal integrity, Grant's administration was plagued by various corruption scandals, such as the Whiskey Ring, which involved embezzlement of tax revenues. I'm giving him a lot of credit just for the basic thing of, hey, maybe we shouldn't treat black people very badly. That'd be pretty cool if we just treated people, you know, no matter what color skin they are. Maybe we just shouldn't suck. What does the song say? Hold on. General Grant enjoyed a drink or two. Grant had several foreign policy achievements, including the Treaty of Washington, which resolved lingering tensions with Britain from the Civil War era. Is he the one that died from the cherries, allegedly? No, that was Zachary Taylor. His three biggest failures: Grant's peace policy. But yes. He smoked like 30 cigars a day. Well, that's not the best. Grant's peace policy towards Native American tribes initially sought to treat them with more humanity, but it ultimately led to further displacement and conflict. That's not great. Grant made significant efforts to protect African American rights. His administration could not fully stop the white supremacist group. Well, obviously, he could not stop the white supremacist groups. And 1873, which I don't really care about. The Panic of 1873. I don't know about it, so obviously it didn't end up being that huge of a deal. His memoirs were written by Mark Twain. Was he really? I'd read that. In every battle, there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten. Then he who continues the attack wins. Good quote, Grant. All right, what else do we have about Grant? Love life. Anything even remotely interesting in his love life? Periods of separation during the Civil War and Grant struggles with alcohol. Despite those, their relationship remained strong. Nothing super interesting in the love life. Interesting facts about Grant. He was the first president to be targeted in a known assassination attempt while in office. He was also a global traveler, embarking on a world tour after his presidency that made him the first former president to circumnavigate the globe. Also, his passion for civil rights, which we already talked about. Yeah, they thought that it was the cherries and milk. I thought it was Taylor that did the cherries and milk. I guess not. Where's my tier list? There it is. Here he is. So, okay. I think he at least deserves a B. Is he better than John Quincy Adams? Or Lyndon Johnson? Who's the sexy dragon? That's John Adams. If you look in the tier list channel on the Discord, I have the names of who they are. But the sexy dragon, the only dragon, is John Adams. I originally had a thing where if they didn't have a pet while in office, to make them into a dragon furry. No, I'm good. I think is he better than John Quincy Adams? What did John Quincy Adams have going for them? Oh, I deleted all the other ones. Never mind. That's fine. Yeah. I'm okay with that right there. Maybe I won't be as picky about the middle lines, just for brevity's sake, but I'm okay putting him right above John Quincy Adams, but I'm not gonna die on that hill. I don't need that. Okay, where's my thing? New president. Oh no, my iPad can't be backed up. If my iPad is lost or damaged, my data could be lost. Oh no. Bill Clinton. We're going to the future, folks. All the way down to number 42. Good old, what do they call Bill? Didn't they have like some fancy nicknames for him, like Saxy Whiskerton? Good old William J. Clinton, or whatever his real actual full name was. William Jefferson Clinton. I was right. Vice President Al Gore, born on August 19th, 1946 in Hope, Arkansas. A Rhodes Scholar and graduate of Georgetown University and Yale Law School. He served as governor of Arkansas before his presidency. He won the presidency in 1992, defeating H.W. Bush and businessman Ross Perot. Oh, that's adorable that they included Perot. Clinton was reelected in 96, defeating Senator Bob Dole and Perot again. Perot was just had a long row of sadness over the 1990s. Marriage to Hillary Rodham Clinton, which we'll talk about later. You have a great pic of that. Hold on, let me put that in the Twitch viewer. What the hell is that? What am I looking at here? Where are they? Why are they wearing that? Wasting time. The economic prosperity. That's sexy right there. At least they're wearing a. I see Al Gore is really fixing with the worldwide conservation, because he's going the whole world. You gotta. It's not just about America for Al Gore. Was almost president. Bill Clinton's 5 most important stories. Economic prosperity. Under Clinton, the United States experienced significant economic growth with a booming stock market, low unemployment, and the elimination of the federal deficit. Hold on. And the elimination of the federal deficit, resulting in a federal budget surplus for the first time in decades. I don't have a crying button, so I'm just going to laugh instead. Healthcare reform efforts. Clinton's attempt to overhaul the United States healthcare system, led by Hillary Clinton, ultimately failed, but set the stage for future healthcare debates and reforms, highlighting the complexities of the U.S. healthcare system. The Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996 significantly reformed the welfare system, requiring work in exchange for time-limited assistance. The reform was controversial, with opinions divided on its impact on poverty reduction. NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, implemented in 1994. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the welfare reform. I'm gonna skip over that for now. I think they're gonna talk about it again in the biggest failures, so I'm not gonna mention it right now. The North American Free Trade Agreements aimed at creating a trilateral trade bloc in North America. It had lasting effects on trade relations and economic structures, but faced criticism for its impact on jobs and environmental standards. And impeachment and acquittal. Clinton was impeached by the House of Representatives in 1998 on charges related to obstruction and justice and perjury, stemming from his affair with Monica Lewinsky. He was acquitted by the Senate in Remember when it was hard to get impeached? He was acquitted by the Senate in 99. It's not biggest success, it's the most important stories. I made a couple. There's some continuity errors with this whole thing. To just let it go. So that's his biggest things to know about him. His 3 biggest failures. Healthcare reform failure. His inability to pass comprehensive healthcare reform was a significant setback to the Clinton administration. Ooh, don't ask, don't tell. Ooh. This policy, intended as a compromise on the issue of gay service members, ended up displeasing both advocates and opponents of gay rights, leading to criticism and eventual repeal. Did he directly cause Don't Ask, Don't Tell? Handling of the Rwanda genocide. Clinton later expressed regret for the administration's inaction during the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, where hundreds of thousands were killed, acknowledging that more direct intervention could have saved lives. I guess it's better than the other option was, but some of the things I've read about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, it seemed like it was a bad a bad stopgap, but it was better than what it was. I don't know. Saxophone skills. Clinton is known for his sax playing, famously appearing on the Arsenio Hall show during the '92 presidential campaign and playing Heartbroken Hotel. And he also won a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album for Children in the narration of Peter and the Wolf. I beg your goddamn pardon? Peter and the Wolf. Is this? Ah, it's so loud. When's the Bill Clinton part?
Then crept along the grassy cover at the edge of the forest glade.
Is that him?
He paused, raised his head and sniffed the air. Peter caught sight of the wolf's distant silhouette.
Hey, how quickly do I want to get DMCA'd? Any music? No? There we go. I thought I would rank Clinton higher, but I'm not really, I don't know, man. We haven't even really talked about Monica, which, you know, Monica, it's funny that the Clintons are hated and feared. And we're not even talking about Epstein, because Epstein, as far as we know, he is innocent until proven. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence. I mean, if as soon as I see a scrap of evidence, I say throw him in a goddamn volcano. Didn't I just see this Roar TV channel? Oh, I see. Let's try this then. Cool. You were working all day. Excellent. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. What do we have that's interesting about Bill Clinton?
Can we elect Volcano as president?
I wish we could. He visited Northern Ireland during the peace process. He played a key role in the Northern Ireland peace process. I don't know much about that whole situation. Before becoming vegan, which is apparently a thing, Clinton was known for his love of fast food, particularly McDonald's. Clinton had a cat named Socks, who was quite famous during his presidency, and later the family welcomed Buddy, a chocolate Labrador retriever. Oh yeah, in the 90s, like a good chunk of the U.S. politicians were openly IRA sympathizers. Oh, do tell. In what way? Like, what can I correlate that to? Like, were they like similar to our collection that we have these days? Also, the Jonathan Colton song is Clinton gave an intern a cigar. W's legacy is a work in progress. Where are we putting Bill? Oh, Bill. Bill, I thought I would be able to rank you higher, but I think he is at least a C. Is he better than Woodrow Wilson? I don't remember what Woodrow Wilson did. I could put them as just about the same level. I'm not going to be super picky about their placements. They're roughly about the same in my mind, so I'm okay with them being. His wife was in charge? Okay, never mind. I'll put him up. Next. So didn't Wilson drop the bomb on Hiroshima? No, that was Truman. W! Oh boy. Get out of here, Bill. Well, isn't this just a can of beans? George W. Hold on, I can do this better. George W. Nuclear Bush. George Walker Bush, 43rd President of the United States from 2001 to 2009. Vice President Richard Cheney, better known as Dick Cheney. Born on July 6, 1946. Oh, he's a Cancer. What a shock. Forgot Poland. That's broken. You just play sound effect. Yeah, you did the wrong one. Eldest son of H.W. Bush, making him one of two presidents in U.S. history to be the son of a former president. Or shouldn't you take H.W. by making it take change? No, it's about W. He was the governor of Texas from 95 to 2000. He holds an MBA, making him the first U.S. president with an MBA. Cool, ChatGPT. That's cool. Bush's election in 2000 was one of the most contentious and closely fought in U.S. history, culminating in a Supreme Court decision that effectively awarded him the presidency. He won the Electoral College with 271 votes to Al Gore's 266, despite losing the popular vote. Wouldn't big surprise. In 2004, Bush was reelected, defeating John Kerry with a clear electoral and popular vote margin. In fact, if I remember right, that was the last time Republicans won both the popular and electoral votes, right? 2004. We'll talk about his love life later. He's been married to Laura Bush since 1977. His 5 most important stories: the 9/11 and a war on terror. The September 11 attacks in 2001 fundamentally changed Bush's presidency, leading to the launch on the war on terror, including the invasion of Afghanistan and to dismantle al-Qaeda and overthrow the Taliban. In 2003, Bush authorized the invasion of Iraq, asserting that Saddam Hussein's regime possessed weapons of mass destruction, a claim that was later discredited, leading to significant controversy. It's me, Al Gore. I was almost president. In 2005, the federal government's response to Hurricane Katrina was widely criticized for being slow and inadequate, highlighting issues of preparedness and response to natural disasters. It was that they knew it was a lie. Do we have evidence of that? I mean, I believe you, but is that like, when was that purported? Bush implemented significant tax cuts in 2001 and 3 aimed to stimulate the economy. Critics argue these disproportionately benefited the wealthy and contributed to the deficit. Holy shit. Yeah, Clinton got rid of the deficit, and then Bush immediately destroyed it for forever, probably. Bush's second term ended with a significant economic downturn, the Great Recession, sparked by a crisis in the housing market and financial system. Are we calling it the Great Recession now? Is that I've been hearing that a lot more lately. Is that now the thing, the 2008? We're calling it the Great Recession? I feel like I slept through. I mean, we had kids, so we were dealing with the baby through a lot of that. I feel like I slept through a goddamn recession. I mean, I was working at Disney through the most of it, and no disrespect to Walt Disney World, but I was a button pusher and dealing with an infant, so I don't remember a lot of what happened during the Great Recession. His 3 biggest failures: handling of the Iraq War, the absence of weapons of mass destruction, and the prolonged conflict in Iraq, damaged Bush's credibility and led to widespread criticism of his foreign policy, his response to Hurricane Katrina, which we already talked about, and financial crisis management. While Bush took steps to address the 2008 financial crisis, including the controversial bank bailout, fuck you, boo this man. Two fun, entertaining facts. Brush clearing. Bush was known for spending time clearing brush on his Texas ranch, a hobby that was often highlighted by the media. He did give you $300. Yeah, I mean, under those, you know, under that argument, Trump gave me like, what, 1,200? I don't know, it was a ton. After leaving office, Bush took up painting, and you see where he's on the goddamn list. After leaving office, Bush took up painting, an activity he has pursued with notable enthusiasm, creating portraits of world leaders and veterans. One such quote of a Bushism is, "I know how hard it is for you to put food on your family." Oh, God damn it, Bush. What about your love life? Tell us about your love life. Laura Bush killed a guy, according to Family Guy. Nothing interesting. He's been married to her since 1977, and their relationship was grounded in shared values and a deep connection. Just fucking stab me in the heart. Ugh. Cavities. One of the lesser known but interesting facets of Bush presidency is the establishment of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, in 2003. This initiative, aimed at combating the global HIV and AIDS epidemic, particularly in Africa, has saved millions of lives and is considered one of the largest health initiatives ever by any country to address a single disease. And the other interesting fact is about painting. His favorite food, Bush enjoyed Tex-Mex cuisine with a particular fondness for nachos. W had several pets, including English Springer Spaniels. English Springer Spaniels named Spot Fetcher, who was actually born in the White House during HW's presidency, Barney and Miss Beasley, and a cat named India Willie. What about socks? No, socks was Clinton. I'm dumb. Jonathan Colton's quote is, "W's legacy is a work in progress, and that is all the presidents so far." He's the last president of the song. And I think the song came out in like 2006. Something like that. Bush sucks. Bush sucks, right? Like, a lot. Where is he? There he is. He's not bottom. And I personally did not even talk about domestic spying. No. No, it focused on his worst decisions was it focused on Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. Guantanamo? Nope. No, I think that would be included in the war. I mean, it doesn't have time to go over everything. It says that Trump's worst thing was the separating kids at the border, which, you know, arguably, absolutely. But, you know, that's only one thing in a sea of shit. So you can't, if you look at one person and say, what's the worst thing they did? And you ask it to an AI that has the intelligence of a godlike third grader, I'm going to put W above Trump. Does he belong over Andrew Johnson? See, I don't know how fair it is, and hear me out. I don't necessarily know how fair it is to push all of the blame on Bush when he obviously didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I know that you would say that's a lot of leeway, especially about considering what I say about like Trump, but there is very obvious differences between the characters of those two men. I'm just saying. I don't mean he was senile. I just mean he was trusting. I'm willing to put him... Am I willing to put him above Andrew Johnson? I'll put him equal with Andrew Johnson until I get more evidence. Like right about Andrew Johnson level. I'm going to put him above the Trump-Jackson level. Who's Catman? That's Rutherford B. Hayes. Look at the goddamn list. Here. Fuck. Here. You want the thing? Here. There. That is the list. All right. We'll hide that. That's not up to date, by the way. His persona sucks. I'm not sure why they gave him a cat. He's the only cat on the list. Speaking of sucks... Get it? Bush's persona? Who? Well, it's supposed to be his dog, I think. Herbert Hoover. Oh, look at that. Herbert Hoover's is awesome. Herbert Hoover, number 31. The 31st president of the United States from 1929 to 1933. His successor was FDR. He was born in 1874. He was an orphan by age 9. Well, fuck you, Herbert. Wow. Ow, that sucks. Straight up, no candy coating, nothing? He graduated as a mining engineer from Stanford and achieved international success as a mining consultant in global humanitarianism. 100% a character in a gay furry dating sim. Bro, that gives me a really good idea. Before becoming president, Herbert led the U.S. Food Administration during World War I and served as the Secretary of Commerce during President Harding's and Coolidge. Herbert won the presidency in 1928 against Democratic candidate Al Smith. His tenure was dominated by the onset of the Great Depression. Herbert was married to Lou Henry Hoover. They met as students at Stanford and married in 1899. Their marriage was a partnership in mutual respect and shared interests until her death in 1944. That sucks. His 5 most important stories were the Great Depression. Shortly after Hoover took office, the stock market crashed in 1929, marking the beginning of the Great Depression. Hoover's response was criticized as being inadequate and too late to prevent widespread economic hardships. So it wasn't while he was president, but the food thing during World War I. And take a drink. I think I read it was Bill Bryson talked about Hoover. And he actually, outside of being president, which is unfortunately outside of the venue of this tier list, he actually did a lot of great things. That being said, it will 100% affect my ranking. Suck it. My list. Hoovervilles. The severe economic downturn led to a rise in homelessness. Shantytowns, sarcastically called Hoovervilles, sprang up across country, symbolizing Hoover's failure to address the poverty of the American people. Excuse me. In 1932, thousands of World War I veterans known as the Bonus Army marched on Washington to demand early payment of a promised bonus. Hoover ordered the U.S. Army to clear the veterans camp. Holy shit. Resulting in a PR disaster. In 1930, Hoover signed the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised U.S. tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods to record levels. This move worsened the global economic situation by reducing international trade. Hoover initiated several public work programs to combat the Depression, including the construction of the Hoover Dam. What did that solve? While these projects provided some employment, they were insufficient to turn the economy around. And you know what the great thing is? He's got a dam named after him. Got a whole freaking dam. It's a big part of New Vegas. His three biggest failures were seen as the inadequate response to the Depression, the handling of the bonus army, and the international trade policy. Oh, it's just reiterating the things we already saw. Two interesting facts about Daddy Hoover here. Hoover was the first president to be experienced in using the radio, holding several conferences that reached a worldwide audience, and he was also fluent in Mandarin. He and his wife Lou lived in China during his career as a mining engineer. They both became fluent in Mandarin and would sometimes speak it in the White House to maintain privacy. How screwed would that be if he's just talking in Mandarin in the White House and nobody knew what the president was saying? Could you imagine? Like, President Obama is just like talking, like Laotian in the White House and nobody knows what he's saying. Manchurian. Anything interesting here? We already talked about his wife. Nothing special. All of the things about their wives are basically just they got married and they loved each other. Cool. Let's see. Anything interesting? Hoover was a real-life action figure hero, orchestrating the evacuation of 120,000 Americans stranded in Europe at the onset of World War I. Hoover. This just talks about the Mandarin again. What else, Hoover? You're not going high on the list, my friend. Hoover's favorite foods were not widely documented, but he was known to enjoy simple American fare. Hoover had several dogs, including a Belgian Shepherd named King Tut, which is probably what the dad dog is. What the bot decided he would be cosplaying as. And the Jonathan Colton song is "Hoover Screwed the Pooch in the Great Depression." Hoover. Oh, Hoover. I feel like I'm going to put him above the person who ended Reconstruction. But otherwise, way down at the bottom. How many presidents actually put the country's needs above their own? Just Jimmy Carter. That's it. Only Jimmy Carter. He's the only one. And even he's not an S. Who's next? Oh Jesus! It's already been 50 minutes. Gonna have to hustle. Not hustle, but have to get a move on. Wow. William McKinley. What number was that? Oh, screw it. I'll find it. McKinley. 25. McKinley's a bird. Number 25. Something screwed up here. I'm not sure what's happening on this sheet. His 5 most important stories were the Spanish-American War. This conflict marked the emergence of the United States as a world power. The war began over Cuba's fight for independence from Spain, with the U.S. intervening following the mysterious explosion of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor. This victory led to the U.S. acquiring territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. McKinley supported the annexation of Hawaii, which was achieved during his presidency. This move was part of a broader strategy by expanding American influence in the Pacific and played a key role in establishing a presence that would be crucial for World War II strategy. His open door policy in 1899, the same year that the last guy just got married, Hoover, I think. The policy was aimed to ensure equal trading rights for all nations in China and the preservation of China's territorial integrity, reflecting McKinley's approach to a foreign policy that favored diplomacy over colonization. McKinley signed the Gold Standard Act, which established gold as the only standard for redeeming paper money, stabilizing the economy and endorsing a key policy of his campaign against Bryan. McKinley was assassinated by anarchist Leon, that word, at the Pan American Exposition, nailed it, in Buffalo, New York. His death led to significant changes in presidential security and the eventual rise of his successor, Theodore Roosevelt, to the presidency. The annexation of the Philippines led to a brutal conflict as Filipinos fought for the independence from American rule in the Philippine-American War. The lack of civil rights progress. McKinley's tenure did little to advance civil rights or address the injustices faced by African Americans in the post-Reconstruction era. And despite the era's economic prosperity, McKinley's presidency saw significant labor disputes, including the 1890. Like everything keeps happening in 1899. The 1899 Newsboys strikes. Goddamn. Extra! We're on strike! His administration's response to a labor unrest was often viewed as favoring big businesses over the needs and rights of workers. He was the first sitting president to ride in an automobile, reflecting the era's technological advancements. He was also the first president to be captured on film during his second inauguration. This marked a new era of media coverage for presidential events. What else you got going for you, my guy? Big champion. What about your love life? Ida McKinley married in 1871. Two of their daughters died in early childhood. I like how it picked a quote for McKinley that says, "I have to go. My wife needs me." And I actually LOL'd the first time I heard that. I'm like, you know, I said it in the tone of the Simpsons episode. Interesting facts.
Each nostril of a human being registers smell in a different way. Smells that are made from the right nostril are more pleasant than the left. However, smells can be detected more accurately when made by the left nostril.
What the hell are you talking about? What? Nostrils don't make smells. I think the Willow's a little confused. What about interesting facts? Presidential food. His food details are scarce. He had roosters and a parrot, which is apparently what we're looking at here. And the Jonathan Colton song is "McKinley kept the Spanish out of Cuba." So where are we putting McKinley? I don't really see much. He influenced several wars and expanded colonization quite a bit. But without him, we wouldn't have Hawaii. Where is he? There he is. Like, I don't really see too much negative about him. I'm thinking like low C. I think I'm okay with that. I don't really feel okay putting him above like Clinton and John Adams and Gerald Ford, but I think bottom of C is fine. Yeah, that's fine for now. We can rearrange later if we need to. Alright, get out of here, William. Next. What'd Spain do? What didn't Spain do? If they were a colonial power, and they came over. Well, let's take a look at what Spain did to the Mayans and the Incans. In case you're wondering what that is, when was the last time we met a Mayan or Incan? They still are around, but not quite as many as there were. You know what I'm saying? They had a rough time of it thanks to the Spaniards. To be fair, though, they were in a whole different hemisphere, so that's a whole different can of beans. Where am I? Calvin Coolidge? Coolidge made the Roaring Twenties roar. Isn't Brainbuster related to some Central American natives? I have no idea. I'm not sure about that, actually. Calvin Coolidge, I hate him. Why do you hate Calvin Coolidge? He was known as Silent Cal. Also, hi Coyote. Silent Cal, for his quiet and reserved nature, unexpectedly rose from VP to P following Warden G. Harding's death in 1923. He was known for his firm belief in conservatism, small government, and laissez-faire economics. His presidency coincided with the Roaring Twenties, a period of economic prosperity and economic social change. He first assumed the presidency after Harding's death and then was elected in his own right in 1924. He won the election comfortably, promoting a platform of continuing economic growth and limited governmental intervention, which resonated with his post-World War I desire for normalcy. Just a quiet, Gilded Age corporate glad-hander. Fair enough. Let's look at his most important stories. He's on the chopping block right now. I'm gonna take a break after Coolidge. By the way, I gotta go pee-pee. The response to the Boston police strike in 1919, before his presidency. Well, I'm not counting this, but we'll see. Before his presidency as governor of Massachusetts, Coolidge's decisive action during the Boston police strike of 1919 brought him national attention. His firm stance against the striking policemen. There's no right to strike against the public safety by anybody, anywhere, anytime, endeared him to the conservative base. So, anti-labor. Setting the stage for the vice presidential nomination in 1920. Cool. Coolidge advocated for and signed into law several tax reduction bills, working with his Secretary of Treasury, Andrew Mellon. These policies aim to reduce government debt and spur economic growth by lowering federal income and inheritance taxes. Coolidge signed the Immigration Act of 1924, which limited the number of immigrants allowed entry into the United States through a national origins quota. It reflected the era's nativist sentiments and significantly reduced immigration from Eastern and Southern Europe as well as Asia. The International Kellogg-Briand Treaty of 1928, which aimed to prevent war by making it illegal. I beg pardon. Did I get information on that? I didn't. I didn't look up anything on that. The Kellogg-Briand Pact making war illegal. Good to know. Coolidge was one of the first presidents to effectively use media, especially radio. On the one hand, police unions bad, on the other hand, good response for the bad reasons. In that case, hospital workers. It's a hard one because when you're a public servant, that's a hard one for striking. I get it, but I'm like, laissez-faire economic policies. While these policies were credited to the economic boom of the 1920s, they contributed to the conditions leading to the Great Depression. You're getting pretty low on this list, my guy. Rural America, particularly farmers, faced significant hardship during Coolidge's presidency. His administration policies often neglected the agricultural sector, leading to increased debt and hardship among farmers. He had a pet raccoon, which is why Calvin Coolidge is a raccoon. Coolidge and his family had a pet raccoon named Rebecca. Why did you name your raccoon? Among other unusual pets, which added to the quirky and human side of his public image, and he was the first president to have his inauguration broadcast on radio, and also appeared in the first sound newsreel film. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Nightmare for the whole staff. I bet you they just followed this raccoon around like this fucking raccoon's just gonna steal all the food and go hide in the walls. He had a love of pets in the White House, which included a wide array of animals, from dogs to cats to more conventional pets like Rebecca. Initially, oh, here we go. It goes into more detail. Initially intended to be part of a Thanksgiving dinner, but instead became a beloved pet. So they were about to eat this raccoon, which is even more weird. I know you can eat raccoon, but don't. Coolidge was also known for his unique sense of humor. He pushed all the buttons on his desk in the Oval Office on the first day just to see what one did, causing a flurry of staff to go. That's so boss. You just come into the office and just start slamming. What did all these fucking buttons do? You just get like 6 butlers like, sir, you've summoned all the wings. Like, oh, cool. I like these buttons. Another notable, interesting aspect of the presidency was his endorsement of new technologies. We already talked about that. Launch nuke buttons. Sir, you've unleashed all the dogs. We have no dogs left. If there's an intruder, all the dogs are gone. You know, I did you a favor. Coolidge enjoyed Vermont cheese and apple pie. I dig it. I'm down. Coolidge had an extensive menagerie, including raccoons, a bobcat, dogs. It keeps changing which animals he had every single time. And a pygmy hippopotamus. I don't believe that. Coolidge made the Roaring Twenties roar, which I mentioned before. Why does he even have that many buttons? Where am I putting Coolidge? What did he do that was good? I was sort of memeing throughout most of that. What did he actually do that was worthwhile? He a lot of economic prosperity through the 20s. He didn't really do much. He didn't really do much at all. He didn't really progress America. He didn't bring it too negative. I think I can put him at the bottom of C. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Hold on. Where's my dashboard? Oh, my dashboard. I need to log into my dashboard. Like every single one of my things that needs a password has required me to log back in today, and I don't understand why. It's very frustrating. Oh, it refreshed my chat too. Cool. That's cool. I hope I didn't miss anything. Also, it's at 0 points. Why? Why am I at 0 point? Fuck off. Sorry, I'm just yelling at my computer. I'm gonna rank Bright House Internet. Or Spectrum, excuse me. It's gonna be an F. Because now I can't see the chat. That's okay. It'll come up in a second. I guess that's a good time for us to go and break. So let me go ahead and hit the thing. Let me go ahead and get us our Twitch done, and I will be back in 3 minutes, and I will fix some of the stupid chat. So I will be back. 1 second. fix it. On the plus side, I can actually see the chat. That's something. Oh well. And the stupid Roar TV isn't working. I mean, I think if we actually change the Roar TV channel, like physically, it will change. So let me change it to, you know, there we go. Like you can actually change the channel, but it's just not going to work automatically. It doesn't even look like I've touched the list. Let's get a new one. We might need a new day. Wow, what was I thinking that we could get this done in one day? Wow, we're finally getting to George, huh? George Washington, the father of our country, slave owner. Hold on, I can do that better. Slave owner. President of the United States from 1789 to 1797, not part of any political party. Often called the father of our country. He was a played a crucial part in the American Revolutionary War as commanding-in-chief for the Continental Army. He was born into a Virginia planter family in 1732. His early career included work as a surveyor and soldier in the British Army during the French and Indian War. His leadership and integrity made him a unanimous choice to lead the nascent United States. And unanimously elected both times again. It doesn't go into anything specific about him not wanting to be the president or not. It doesn't mention that. He married Martha Dandridge Custis, a wealthy widow, in 1759. While the couple had no children together, he adopted Martha's 2 children from her previous marriage, treating them as his own. Aww. His 5 most important stories: Washington oversaw the creation of a new government, including the implementation of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. He appointed the first cabinet members and set the precedent for executive authority. The Whiskey Rebellion in 1794 was a significant test of federal authority. Washington personally led troops to suppress the Whiskey Rebellion. Could you imagine Corn Pop on a tank just going down into like Ocoee if something was wrong? Is like, I've come to suppress the problem, demonstrating the federal government's ability to enforce law and order. Proclamation of neutrality. Amidst escalating tensions between Britain and France following the French Revolution, Washington declared U.S. neutrality. This decision was pivotal for maintaining peace and allowing the young nation to grow economically. The Jay's Treaty, negotiated with Britain. This treaty averted war, resolved tension remaining since the Treaty of Paris, and facilitated 10 years of peaceful trade between the United States and Britain. Washington's decision not to seek a third term and his farewell address set a standard for presidential tenure and warned against permanent foreign alliances and political parties. That all sounds nice and lovely. 3 biggest failures: slavery. Well, Washington didn't address the issue of slavery during his presidency. He did free his own slaves in his will. Nice of you. His failure to act during his presidency is a significant blemish on his record. Washington's presidency saw the continued expansion into Native American territories, including military actions like the Battle of Fallen Timbers. His policies often resulted in the displacement and unfair treatment of Native American tribes. Despite his warnings against the dangers of political factions, they happened. His administration was marked by growing divisions between Federalists and Democratic Republicans. Washington was America's largest whiskey producer at the time, with his distillery at Mount Vernon producing thousands of gallons of whiskey per year. And the fact that everyone knows Washington's teeth were not made of wood, but they were a mix of human, cow, and hippopotamus teeth and ivory. And I would love it if they changed the human, cow, hippopotamus, teeth, ivory, and wood. Like, just add wood right there at the end. Anything else interesting about Washington? Oh, apparently his hair traveled, or a lock of Washington's hair has been gifted, auctioned, and displayed in various settings over the centuries. serving as a tangible link to the persona of a foundational figure in American history. So apparently there's some George Washington hair clippings across the country. Cherries are famously associated with Washington, but he also enjoyed fish, nuts, and Madeira wine. He had numerous dogs, horses, and a parrot named Polly, owned by his wife Martha. The Jonathan Colton song is "Washington Came First and He Was Perfect." That's not accurate. Anybody who owns slaves isn't getting out of D. Sorry, I stand by what I said. Where are you, Washington? Where are you, George? Come on. Actually, I take that back. There has been John Adams had slaves. Did he not? Maybe that's why he's so high. I think that must be why he's up so high. Now, where am I going to put him above whoever that is? Whoever Grant owned a slave briefly. Like, I think I'm okay with putting him at the top of D. At least for now. What are you going to tell me? What are you going to blow my mind and tell me? I bet you thought I'd put George Washington up like A, because, oh, he's the first president. Look, it's George Washington. He's the president of the United States. No, I wasn't going to do that. His father-in-law gave him a slave as a wedding gift. Oh, it was that Grant owned slaves. I mean, just because you get a slave doesn't mean you have to keep them as a slave. I feel like that seriously diminishes any of your ability to say, well, I didn't mean to keep him as a slave. It's like after like the first day, hell, after about 10 minutes, like you're gonna keep me, aren't you? You're gonna keep me. It's like, yeah, that's kind of how this works, buddy. Corn Pop. Corn Pop was a hairy dude. He was a scary man. They didn't let me make a picture of George Biden. They didn't let me take a picture of him, so I had to find one off of Google Images. Somebody else was able to make a terrible AI image of Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Why is he at a furry con? It was like the first thing I was able to look up of Joe Biden AI animal, I think. Defeated incumbent Republican President Donald Trump in the 2020 election. He was born in 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He served as a U.S. Senator from Delaware for 36 years and is the 47th Vice President under Barack Obama. Known for his extensive foreign policy experience, advocacy for middle-class Americans, and efforts to address climate change, Biden's presidency marks his 5th decade of public service. He won the 2020 election against Donald Trump, securing 306 electoral votes to Trump's 232, and winning the popular vote by over 7 million votes. He's campaign. Why am I telling you this? You all were here for that. Joe Biden's personal life has been marked by tragedy and resilience. He was first married to Nyla Hunter, who, along with their daughter Naomi, died in a car crash in 1972. Biden remarried in 1977 to Jill Jacobs, who has been an integral part of his life and campaign, emphasizing education and military family support. Joe Biden. Pepsi originally contained Pepsin, the original stuff in Pepsid AC, thus the name. I don't believe you. I don't believe that. I don't believe any of these facts that it's marking as facts. By the way, speaking of facts. Oh, I can't even do... I was going to do a Florida man, but I'm not logged into chat, apparently. The 5 most important stories as of... Remember, this is as of the cutoff date of 2023, April. So the 5 most apparently important stories of Joe Biden were the COVID-19 response. He prioritized COVID-19 response from the onset of his presidency, enacting the American Rescue Plan Act to accelerate vaccine distribution and provide economic relief to Americans affected by the pandemic. I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. Infrastructure investment. He championed the bipartisan infrastructure law, a landmark investment in America's infrastructure, aiming to modernize transportation, broadband, and utilities and create jobs. Biden re-entered the Paris Agreement. I was going to say, infrastructure week any day now. Re-entered the Paris Agreement on the first day in office and hosted the Leaders Climate Summit, emphasizing the U.S.'s commitment to addressing policy and global climate change, social policy and equality, advanced policies aiming at enhanced social justice and equality, including executive orders to fight racial inequality and efforts to protect LGBTQ plus rights. Foreign policy and diplomacy. He worked to restore alliances. Like half of this, the whole thing, this whole thing for Biden is just fixing what Trump did. And that's all we really expected, but it's like, damn, all you could do was just fix what was fucked. And I hate that. He worked to restore alliances strained under previous administration, ending the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan. Oh boy. Though the withdrawal faced criticism for its execution. Yeah, I mean, just basically coming to a dead stop on the highway of life instead of barreling forward towards the direct bottom. The Afghanistan withdrawal was the most important failure for Biden. The chaotic and deadly withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021 faced bipartisan criticism for its mishandling and the humanitarian crisis it precipitated. Biden's administration has suffered with immigration policy, facing criticism over the southern border, and despite early successes, he's faced challenges in passing significant portions of his legislative agenda. Oh, yeah, it's Biden's fault. Fuck off. Biden is famously a big fan of ice cream, often photographed enjoying a cone on the campaign trail. I just saw a picture of Biden eating ice cream the other day. He didn't really, regardless of whether it was a good choice or not, he didn't have a choice either way, from what I understand. Biden owns a 1967 Corvette Stingray, a gift from his father, showcasing his long-standing love for classic American cars. People are freaking out about it. Grown men don't eat ice cream cones. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's idiotic. Ice cream cones are delicious, and anybody who gets upset about eating an ice cream cone, anybody who gets upset about eating ice cream out of an edible cone is a sexually immature idiot. Who gives a fuck? You're gonna eat the ice cream and then you're gonna eat the cone. It's gone. There's no mess. It's delicious. Why wouldn't you do it? Don't be stupid. Biden enjoys classic American food with the noted preference for ice cream. Biden brought 2 German shepherds to the White House. Champ and Major. Didn't they bite 24 Secret Service agents? Later, the Bidens welcomed a cat named Willow, who would love to bite everybody, but does not get the chance. There's no song lyric for Joe Biden because the song stopped after W. Oh, Mr. Biden, where are you? There you are. I think Biden has done very well. Like, memes aside and echo chamber aside, I think he's done extremely well. Given what he was left, Is that too high? He's not perfect. I don't think... Is he that much worse than Lyndon Johnson? He's not an S. No way. All right. He didn't... And he... Yeah, and so is Biden. That didn't happen during his presidency. And he's done all sorts of other shit for Civil Rights Act. Fine, I'll put him in top of B. I don't have all the stats, but he's done plenty during his time for civil rights actions too. He's you know as well as I do, he has zero power thanks to Congress. At least he has the gumption to want to do some of these things, as opposed to some of the other people on this list. I'll put him at the fine. I'm gonna put him right here. I'm gonna leave him right here. I'm gonna leave him right there at the top of B. All three of these. Not doing anything is the definition of C, but he's not trying to do nothing. A lot of these people are in C because they didn't try. They didn't care. He is being, you know. I'm seeing down the list. Sexy Dragon Man. I'm leaving him there for now. We can take a look later. What's next? Yeah, I don't think I'm... When am I putting the rest of this list? I was gonna start Mario soon. James A. Garfield. Well, this one will be quick. Garfield. It didn't allow me to do a picture of Garfield. I think it was trying to get pictures of the cat. So I had to find a new picture of Garfield. So there are a few people who aren't actually furries. Garfield, the 20th president, served from March until his assassination in September of 1881. Born in 1831 in Ohio, Garfield was a scholar, a Civil War general, and a congressman for nearly 2 decades before the presidency. He was elected president in 1880 in a closely contested election against Winfield Scott Hancock. The margin of victory in the popular vote was one of the narrowest in history, emphasizing the national divided sentiment of the era. Garfield was married to Lucretia Randolph in 1858, and they had 7 children together. Get off her. The relationship was marked by deep intellectual and emotional bonds. Let's see. Garfield was shot by Charles J. Guiteau on July 2nd, 1881. The subsequent medical malpractice, including unsterilized instruments and fingers probing the wound. Come poke the president. 5 cents, poke the president's wound. Heal that bitch, he's dying. Poke the president in his arteries. Including unsterilized instruments, led to his death from infection and internal hemorrhage 79 days later. That's a pretentious name. Which one? These have all been pretentious names so far. Charles J. Guiteau. Guiteau. This tragic end highlighted the need for antiseptic. Yeah, no shit. Although his time in office was brief, Garfield was a strong advocate for civil service reform. His assassination by a disgruntled office seeker amplified the call for reform, leading to the Pendleton Civil Service Reform Act under his successor. Garfield believed in universal education and supported measures to protect the rights of African Americans, continuing the post-Civil War Reconstruction efforts. He initiated plans to modernize the Navy, laying the groundwork for transforming it into a world-class force, and his administration sought to improve relations with Latin American countries and advocated for a Pan-American conference. His three biggest failures: his short presidency, his early short tenure. He had limited impact on social reform, limited impact to heal factionalism, and he was also multilingual and could write in Latin in one hand while writing in Greek in the other. Goddamn, he needs one win. Give the man a win. He was also the first left-handed president. Territory is but the body of the nation. The people who inhabit its hills and valleys are its soul.
Also hated Mondays.
Its soul, its spirit, its life. Oh, also, I just realized something. Oh, I can't do that right now. Never mind. What else is interesting about James Garfield? Kitty, you got like 3 ads, didn't you? Because you're not subbed. The sub finally ran out. I'll have to fix that later, but I'm not even logged in. Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, even devised a metal detector in an effort to find the bullet lodged in his body. Unfortunately, the metal bed frame interfered with the device's effectiveness. So they kept probing in his body. They kept probing inside Garfield's body, and eventually he just died. Rip. Ripperoonie. I'll take care of that tomorrow, because apparently I'm not logged in anymore, and I'm not doing it on mobile because then it charges an extra $1. Garfield enjoyed squirrel soup, among other dishes. Maybe it's good he died. That's rude. Garfield had a dog named Vito and a horse, and the Jonathan Colton presidential lyric was Garfield was assassinated in 1882. He accomplished nothing, right? He is pretty low down on the list. Where are you, Garfield? He didn't have any slaves. He ate squirrel soup. What about his love life? Nothing interesting. Married someone, was in love with them. I think like a low C. Like, it's not really his fault. No. I would say a low D. Just because he didn't have time. It's not really necessarily his fault, but that's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles, you know? Sometimes you don't get to choose that you get shot and you die. Who's next?
Wow.
James Buchanan. Buchanan saw the Civil War's beginnings is the Jonathan Colton song. James Buchanan. Oh, he's a big foofy dog. He's a big foofy dog. Straight to F? Why? What did he do? Or did he not do anything? Where's my actual page? There it is. Born in 1791, He served as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives as a minister to Russia under President Jackson and the Secretary of State under President Polk. He was the only president from Pennsylvania and the only president to remain a lifelong bachelor. Are you putting him in F because he was a virgin? You're putting him in F because he was a virgin, aren't you? Buchanan supported the controversial Dred Scott and Sanford decision, hoping it would settle the slavery issue. However, it only exacerbated tension, declaring that African Americans could not be citizens and that Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories. Buchanan's administration faced the Utah War against the Mormon settlers. He sent U.S. troops to confront the perceived rebellion, eventually settling the conflicts without large-scale bloodshed through negotiations. Early in Buchanan's presidency, the country experienced a severe economic downturn. His hands-off approach and belief in limited government intervention did dick all to alleviate the crisis. Buchanan's handling of the situation in Kansas, where pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers clashed, was widely criticized. He supported the Lecompton Constitution, which would have admitted Kansas as a slave state. Despite accusation of voter fraud, Buchanan's presidency ended as southern states began to succeed. I'm feeling like we might end up putting him in F. Buchanan received a pair of elephants from the King of Siam, where he declined due to the logistical impracticalities of keeping them. Give them to the zoo like Monroe did. Jesus, have some backbones. Buchanan was the only bachelor president. He never had a friend in the bedroom, as far as we know. Throughout his presidency, his niece, Harriet Lane, acted as the White House hostess and fulfilled the social duties typically associated with the First Lady. Buchanan's lifelong bachelorhood has left historians and biographers to explore his close and intimate friendship with William Rufus King, a fellow politician with whom Buchanan lived for many years. I didn't know that. He lived with him? Oh, he's gay. Why didn't he's gay, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but he's a homosexual man. Why didn't they just say that? Because it was 1857? I'm assuming so. Get a preference for fine dining, but significant specific dishes are not well documented. And Buchanan had an elephant, and 2 Newfoundland dogs were his pets. Yeah, he's going down, way down. Where is Rufus? There you go. Where are you, big guy? Putting you above Trump, above W, above Andrew Johnson, above Rutherford B. Hayes. And that's about it. I'm not going to put you above Hoover, because as bad as Hoover was, to answer your question, Kitty, I don't think people are smarter. At all. I think people are just about exactly as dumb as they always have been. I think we are in a Mobius strip of life where history is like a river and it repeats, and we as humanity is too dumb to understand that sometimes. Abraham Lincoln. Speaking of people right around the Civil War, we actually had another cat. I didn't know. I forgot that Lincoln became the cat. I'm getting off of piano. Thank you. There we go. Abraham Lincoln, president from 1861 to 1865. He was born in poverty in a log cabin in Kentucky. He rose through the ranks of American politics with self-educated brilliance and a deep moral conviction. His presidency, dominated by the Civil War, showcased his exceptional leadership in preserving the Union and ending slavery. His eloquence, exemplified in speeches like the Gettysburg Address, and his commitment to principles on democracy left an indelible mark on the nation. He won the presidency in 1860 in a fractured political landscape without carrying a single Southern state. His election triggered the succession of Southern states, leading to civil war. Re-elected in 1864 amidst the war, his leadership had galvanized the North's commitment to victory and reunification. His 5 most important stories were the Emancipation Proclamation. He issued this historic executive order declaring the freedom of all slaves in Confederate-held territory. Although it didn't immediately free all slaves, it marked a crucial turning point in the war in the American society, aligning the war effort with the cause of abolition. The Gettysburg Address, delivered at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This short speech redefined the Civil War as not just a fight to preserve the Union, but as a struggle for human equality and the fulfillment of the promises of the Declaration of Independence. His leadership during the Civil War it was good. I'm just going to skip all that. Lincoln's advocacy for the 13th Amendment was crucial, which formally abolished slavery in the United States, and he was assassinated in 1865 by John Wilkes Booth. His 3 biggest failures. Lincoln suspended the writ of habeas corpus during the Civil War. I probably said that wrong. A controversial decision that allowed for the arrest and detention without trial for those who deemed disloyal. Basically, he was able to go out and just arrest people, which, that's not great. His presidency also saw the continuation of policies that led to the displacement and mistreatment of Native Americans, notably the Dakota War of 1862, which resulted in the largest mass execution in U.S. history after Lincoln approved the sentences of 38 Dakota men. Cool. Good one, Lincoln.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
While Lincoln's vision for a post-war America, his malice toward none approach was forward-thinking, his assassination left the task of reconstruction to less capable hands, leading to a turbulent and often repressive era for freed slaves. Before his political career, Lincoln was known for his physical strength and wrestling ability, earning a reputation that followed him into politics, and he was a known theater enthusiast. Yeah, no shit. What else interesting do we have about Lincoln? His failure was going to a play. He was the first president to use the telegraph for instant communication. What you doing? Well, another intriguing aspect was his engagement to the concept of a national Thanksgiving holiday. It was Lincoln who, in 1863, amidst the Civil War, proclaimed a national day for Thanksgiving and praised the benevolent Father who dwelt in the heavens. So he created Thanksgiving. What about love life? Let's see. Married Mary Todd in 1842. They faced numerous personal tragedies, including the loss of 3 of their 4 children before they reached adulthood. Their marriage was a partnership that endured the Civil War. Well, thank God. that was a rough one. Lincoln's love for Mary and his family was profound, with him once remarking, "The better part of General Akbar. The better part of one's life consists of his friendships," highlighting the importance he placed on his close friendship, including those with his wife. He had a good relationship with his wife, it looks like. He was not food focused, was what was known to enjoy simple foods, including apples and hot coffee. Lincoln had a dog named Fido, cats, and a turkey named Jack. Lincoln saved the Union, then he died. Didn't she lose her mind? Yeah, it did mention something about that. Mary struggles with mental health is what it says. It doesn't go into a lot of detail about that. So, looking at Lincoln, I'm big into ghost photography. Where's Lincoln? Do I have a reason not to put Lincoln in S, other than none of them should be an S because they're all terrible presidents? I don't know. I feel like he belongs in S. That's the reason is suspension of habeas corpus. I don't think it was great. Yeah, I'm willing to put him in there with a giant asterisk. It's like, look, that wasn't good. That thing you did where you just are allowed to arrest anybody. That was bad juju over there, my friend. But just don't do that anymore. And I'm not noticing any other negative. Hold on. One of his most controversial actions was the suspension of habeas corpus in 1861, aiming to quell rebellion and aiming to maintain public safety. He suspended habeas corpus for the court along the critical rail lines from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, which later extended to the whole nation. This move allowed for the arrest and infinite detention without trial of individuals deemed threatening to Union stability. Ooh. That's yeah, I'm gonna leave him an S with a major asterisk. I'm not sure Obama's an S. He'll rank up high, most likely, but an S? I'm not sure. Speaking of people not ranking up an S, let's check out old Tricky Dick. Where are you? Richard Nixon. It didn't let me make a Nixon picture either, so I had to grab one from Marvel. Richard Milhouse Nixon, 1969 to 1974. Spiro Agnew and Gerald Ford were his vice presidents. He was married to Pat Nixon from 1940 until his death in 1994. 54 years of marriage. Excellent. Good job, my guy. That's enough. Born in 1913 in California, Richard Nixon rose in political ranks from congressman to senator and then to vice president under Eisenhower. He made a stunning political comeback after losing to JFK to win the presidency in 1968 and was reelected in 1972. His 1968 victory capitalized on a divided Democratic Party and a pledge to restore law and order amidst civil unrest. His 1972 landslide election was marked as a campaign that successfully portrayed him as a peacekeeper in Vietnam. His 5 most important stories allegedly were ending the Vietnam War. Nixon promised peace with honor and initiated Vietnamization, which I think was a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, which aimed to gradually withdraw American troops and hand over combat roles to the South Vietnamese. The Paris Peace Accords, signed in 1973, officially ended U.S. involvement. In 1972, Nixon visited China, becoming the first U.S. president to do so. Cool. Skip all that. Nixon established the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, in 1970 and established significant economic environmental legislation. Now, I'm not sure how low we're going to put him. And don't get me wrong, Watergate's going to come up, but he did some good things too. He did establish the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, which included supporting the Clean Air Act of 1970. So even bad people do good things sometimes. He pursued a policy of detente, easing tensions with the Soviet Union. This policy led to the Strategic Arms Limitations Talks, SALT I, culminating in the treaty that limited the 2 superpowers' ballistic missile systems. Nixon, honestly, one of his worst things wasn't Watergate. I know what you're going to talk about. You didn't you mention that, or that he did something about the that, but that we can't count it because it's not technically part of the. I'll include it in my overall sense, but I can't mark it as a significant action during his presidency. And of course, the Watergate scandal, the break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters and led to revelations of widespread political espionage and sabotage. He was the first president to resign in 1974. His handling of the Vietnam War, although Nixon ended American involvement in Vietnam, the manner in which it was done, including the secret bombing campaigns in Cambodia and Laos, was highly controversial. Nixon gifted moon rocks collected by Apollo astronauts to all 50 states and all 100 countries. These gifts symbolize goodwill in the United States' achievements in space exploration. Aren't there more than 100 countries? Didn't some countries have to get shafted like they didn't get moon rocks? Couldn't we have brought back enough rocks for the entire world? In 1970, Nixon met with Elvis Presley, who requested to be made a federal agent at large in the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. This iconic photo of their meeting is one of the most requested photographs from the National Archives. He's Laotian. He's Laotian. Ain't you, Mr. Khan? Interesting facts. He did the EPA. And he was the president during the moon landings, famously calling the Apollo 11 astronauts while they were on the moon. I wasn't a huge King of the Hill fan. I feel like I would if I watched it now. For me, his biggest thing was he effectively starting the political strategy that would turn the... Yeah, true. His presence has emboldened a lot of people in the conservative base, unfortunately. A lot of people, live for the party of Nixon and the party of Reagan, all that jazz. Nixon had honestly, he's going really far down the rankings because his favorite food apparently was cottage cheese with ketchup. He had a Cocker Spaniel named Checkers, famous from his 1952 speech, along with his Irish setters and a poodle. I would say above ending Reconstruction, above Hayes. Below Buchanan. Is that too low? That might be too low. The treason thing was pretty bad. So I'm willing to give it an extra minus grade just for that story. I think I'm okay putting him right there. I think I got one more. I am very sleepy. So let me grab the old wheel and let's find one more president for the evening. I honestly thought I'd get them all done tonight. Speaking of people that have ruined the modern day conservative party, Ronald Reagan. Born in 1911 in Illinois, he was an actor and a union leader before entering politics. He was the governor of California from 1967 to 1975. And what's the song about him? Reagan won the Cold War and lost his mind. The actor? Before winning the presidency in 1980, Reagan's charm, wit, and communication skills, we have to end on Reagan, earned him the nickname the Great Communicator. Tear down this wall. Reagan won in 1980 by defeating incumbent Jimmy Carter, capitalizing on economic woes, the Iran hostage crisis, and a call for conservative values. He was reelected in 1984 in a landslide victory over Democratic challenger Walter Mondale. Well, of course.
So tell me, future boy, who's president of the United States in 2016?
Look. Good night, future boy. Ronald Reagan was married twice. He first married actress Jane Wyman in 1940, with whom he had 2 children. Before they divorced in 1949. 1952, he married actress Nancy Reagan, until who they remained close until his death. They had 2 children, Patty and Ron. His 5 most important stories. Reaganomics. Reagan's economic plan focused on tax cuts, deregulation, and reduced government spending. While supporters credit these policies for economic boon and a reduction in inflation, critics argue they increased national debt and income inequality. blowjob queen of Hollywood. Ending the Cold War. Reagan's foreign policy was marked by a hardline stance against the Soviet Union, famously calling it an evil empire, and initiating a military buildup. His relationship with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev helped ease Cold War tensions, leading to the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty of 1987. Reagan dramatically escalated the war on drugs. That needs two. That needs at least two. This is going to be an objectively very low ranking for me. Dramatically escalated the war on drugs, focusing on criminal penalties over treatment. This initiative has been criticized for leading to mass incarcerations and disproportionately affecting minority communities. Reagan's administration faced significant criticism for its slow response to the AIDS epidemic, which emerged. Yeah, he was too busy focusing on weed. He had his eyes on the blood. He had his eyes on the ganj. He doesn't care about what all the gays were doing over there with AIDS. He wanted to take care of that sweet, sticky dank. The Iran-Contra affair, one of the most controversial aspects of Reagan's presidency, the scandal involved the secret sale of arms to Iran. Fuck you! Despite an arms embargo to fund Contra rebels in Nicaragua. This affair led to several administration officials being convicted, though Reagan himself was never charged. That was his biggest failure, apparently. His response to the AIDS crisis, that's all on there already. Before his political career, he was a Hollywood actor and president of the Screen Actors Guild, appearing in over 50 films and numerous television shows. In 1981, Reagan survived an assassination attempt by John Hinckley Jr. Remarkably, he joked with doctors on the way to surgery, saying, "I hope you're all Republicans." That's funny. Nixon and Reagan are like Trump in that they feel like presidencies that you kind of have to lived through to really viscerally understand why they're so hated, like the dry text making it. That's quite possible. Yeah, I wasn't really around too much for the Reagan, but I know. Let me put it this way. When I don't understand something personally, and this is a life lesson, when I don't understand personally something, like I don't have that knowledge in my head, I just look over to the lowest common denominator. It's like, who's the people now that are still supporting Ronald Reagan? And do I agree with those people? Because then that puts me in a mind that maybe that's somebody I can trust. But it's like, if their greatest supporter is going to be Donald Trump, is going to be George W. Bush, is going to be Ben Shapiro, I'm not gonna be your friend, my guy. I'm sorry. What any interesting facts about Ronald Reagan? Did we already see this? Apparently, during a sound check for a radio broadcast, he said, "My fellow Americans, I'm pleased to tell you I've just signed legislation which outlaws Russia forever. The bombing begins in 5 minutes." I think that's funny. Another fascinating aspect was his Star Wars speech in 1983, where he proposed the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, a space-based missile defense system. The concept, I only really knew about this from Berkeley Breathed with Bill the Cat. The concept sounded like it was straight out of a sci-fi movie, and it was a bold move during the Cold War era. Critics quickly dubbed it Star Wars, a name that stuck despite the project's serious intentions. "The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave," Reagan once said. Yeah, it didn't really... I don't think it worked the way you wanted it to. He's famously associated with jelly beans, but he also loved mac and cheese. He had a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel named Rex, and several horses and dogs at his ranch. He's going really far down on the list for me, personally speaking. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. Right there, right above George W. Bush. Honestly, they might even be tied. Going straight down to the bottom of the list. What did he do that was positive? What did he do that was actually his best thing that he did was ending the Cold War? it would have ended eventually. I'm not trying to dog his opinion, his things here, but I don't know. I feel like he did a lot of negative and not a lot of positive. I'm just saying. Well, look at this list. Oh, my back is hurting. I really need to stand up, and I am a little bit sleepy, so let me turn that off. I'm going to call it for tonight. We've got only a few left. We've got just a handful. We got Taft on the list. I think that's Fillmore. Barack Obama is on the list. Eisenhower. Just a few more. So we will hit that at some point. I'm not sure when. Mario month is coming up soon, so I'm not sure if it will be immediate. But thanks for hanging out. I know another chill stream, but we will get back into playing video games very soon. Month of Mario is very soon coming. I'm out. Have a good night. Love you all. Peace.
Okay, Chief, take him away. I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.